Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Mattis from Mattis Gaming, and welcome back to Hydroneer. So this is the block of land that we bought at the end of last episode. I've gone through and sort of laid out the pipe work that I had here. So that's sort of in position there. We're going to go through and get that finished off shortly. What I'm going to do, just to sort of quiet things for now so it's not dripping, is just remove that. But we will need to go over to the shops shortly. What I'm going to do is just put this down so we can work out exactly what we need. Now, just for now, because it's just basically so we're trying to do this sort of just as a easiest way possible. So what we're going to do is come down and connect onto that. We're going to need this T-piece, which yep, that should give us enough clearance for everything. Get that T-piece connected up. This is the auto grinder. So what we're going to want is that sitting down in there, which that lets that come down. We're going to turn that around shortly, but I just wanted it in position so that we could get the pickaxe, and that's going to let us see sort of what we need to dig down to make that usable. Let's get rid of a bit of that mound there, so it's more visible, more accessible. Now, actually, I was just going to put that in, but I remembered going to need to turn this around, so let's do that first. Actually, let's get it out of the way, get rid of that other dirt that wasn't visible or accessible there before. Alright. Now we need to get the pipe around so it's on that side so we can get from here to here. And then what that's going to do is give us access to connect the water to it. And we just need to dig down a little bit further there, but we can put that under there just so we're again got a location point. Not essential at all. You don't have to put the block under. It does just make it easier to sort of see where you're lining things up at. And I believe I had one more block. Yep. There we go. And what's going to happen is that's going to spit things out down here. Yeah, so we're going to want to try and catch that as much as we can. Which hopefully that's in the right spot. I'm just going to calculate exactly what we need. Yeah, so obviously you're going to need the elbow there, 2 elbows there, another elbow here, straight line, elbow, straight line. But yeah, so I'll just count all that up and then we'll head into town and do a bit of shopping with what I got left. Okay, so I've got in the back of the truck the coins. I'll show you this as well quickly. Always what I did early game, I kind of don't really need it anymore because as I said I did play it for a couple hours. I had this in here to start with. I found it easy to, whenever I went anywhere, just have the map in there. That way if I needed to have a look, it was there ready to go. And then, so the other advantage to the map, which I mentioned last time, is these exclamation points show you where the missions are. So when you go on mission hunting, it's handy to have. But yeah, I just find it easy to keep it in the back there. Now let's make our way through. So we've got a little township just on our left here. That's primarily farming, so not something that we sort of really need. But what we're going to do is just head down here, take this one to the left, and head into this town here. So there's... Bye! We'll check what mission he had for us later.
I reckon you could get this for me.
So that one we can take. I'm not going to take any of the farming ones at this stage because there's no point taking ones that I'm not going to be doing. I'm not planning on farming in the immediate future. Now, this one here, I do believe what we can do at this shop. You'll notice there's another jeweler here, so we can come to here when we want to sell stuff. If I line it up correctly, I said correctly, not incorrectly, I should be able to get the back of the truck in, and then that works the same as the wagon, that we can put stuff directly in there. Okay, so we have basically 2.5 to spare. Now I worked it out, so we're going to need 6 of these. Now you'll notice these ones are a different one. They're what they call the Cloutium ones. Now whilst I don't really technically need these ones at the moment, I'm kind of more inclined to just get them anyway. One, because it's a closer shop, and 2, it saves upgrading things later. So, which, if we hadn't have sort of dug for that extra time last go there, we sort of might have been a bit more limited and might have had to try and scrounge up a bit more money first, but because we ended up with the extra money, we're able to sort of skip ahead a little bit. The other thing that I'm going to need is one of these. Ooh, 2, 5. Ooh, not quite enough. Okay, I'll skip that for now, which means I'll just need a straight pipe for where it was. Now it is gonna make a difference to us being able to do that. Now that one we can't afford. What's the furnaces? Yep, okay. And then we're gonna need this. So that's all those. Now the sorter, how much is that? 165. Yep. Let's get that as well. just change that for that. 2322. What do we got? So we got 230 left. Well, I can probably get one more pipe, which will be handy. Yep. Okay, that's gonna get us started. Now there are other things that we're definitely going to need, so we will be making a few trips back over here. But for now, let's get that. Now I'm just going to leave the coins there. Nothing happens to them, and they're just there ready to use. Okay. So, let's get this set up. Now this here is for melting the metal. Now, you can actually put it in the ground like so, which I prefer. But when I do that, just for the aesthetics, I'm just going to get rid of that dirt out of it. That goes on there. That lets us melt down the ores. This is the mold for casting the ingot. Okay, yep. As I said, presently having the Cloutium, which is upgraded pieces on here, doesn't actually do anything. And I'm pretty sure you can actually run even the high level stuff with the normal lines. So it's partly just an aesthetic thing anyway. That way. That actually needs to come over because that needs to go there. There we go. Now technically I didn't need that last elbow because we changed that to another elbow. That's why I've got an extra one of those, because that was going to go there. Then I got that instead. Okay. So that should be ready to go. So let's plug this back in. So it should have pressure coming down to here. So we can see that it's there grinding away. And let's turn this on. There we go. We are automated. Okay, while that's going, let's grab our other buckets from wherever they are. There we go. Hiding over here. Eventually we'll get this set up better, but yeah, what we can do with this. So this is all the shards. Kind of missed a couple, but let's get them all in here. Get that back on there, make sure they're all finished off. There we go. It's the last of them. Okay, so we have that, which we're going to use that on our pressure unit, but for now we'll just leave it there. It sounded like something missed. Oh, can't see anything. Okay, so if we have a look, this is one of the missions that they asked for. So it's 1.5 weight iron ore. At the moment, like we could try and sort of guess the weight and see sort of how much they are. But because we're mining from the top, it's not gonna be very much. Just like at the last one where I showed you, we want to get down to the bottom and be harvesting out there. So that's still a thing. So what I'll do while that's harvesting up, I'll start sort of digging our way down. Now, this is probably going to be not overly entertaining. So what I'll do, I'll dig away, let that run for a bit, and then I'll bring you back in a bit. Okay, so I've dug a bit of a path down here. Still, it's not refined yet, so we can still improve it and open it up and all that. But you'll notice as we get down here, the texture and that is all changing, and you start to see it where it's sort of looks, I guess, sort of old and and that. What that indicates is we're getting to the bottom of this tier level. If you have a look on the pickaxe, it says it's a tier 1, so tier 1 stuff can only go to the bottom of tier 1. There is 3 tiers on the lots here. So on the first, the beginner tier, the beginner area, there's only 1 tier, and then it just goes to the bedrock. On these ones, once you get down towards the center, you actually get an extra 2 tiers, which if we keep digging here, which I would expect very soon, there we go, that's the tier 2. So you notice a difference. So when you get to bedrock, it doesn't do anything. When you get to the bottom of the tier, you get the failing to go through. So it still tries to hit it for you, but it just doesn't achieve anything. So basically, this here is where we want to set up as close to the tier 2 as we can. So this is where we're going to have to open it up, and once we've got some more money, run some gear down here so we can be mining down at a lower level. Okay, so we've got a few things in there. So what we're going to do, so there's basically two main things that we're after at the moment. So switch that off now, and now I want to try and line up these buckets and hopefully catch the things. So this unit here is a separator. So there's two main things that we want out of this. The rest we're just gonna pretty much get rid of. Well, three things we'll sort. So that's not what I meant to do. But you will notice. So when I did that, I went straight through and just put it out there. If we put that up here though, and then we grab another piece of iron and then drop it in here, it puts it over there, which is exactly what we want to happen. So what we're going to do is pour this in. Hopefully we don't lose too many pieces and have to go chasing them. And that then gives us the iron over here and everything else there. So now that we've done that, we'll grab that, put that one in there as well, tip all of the iron into here. Again, we're going to hopefully do it without losing much. Make sure it's all melted. This one you actually use the main pointer, not the drop pointer. And we have one iron bar. Okay, so an iron bar is going to be worth more than if we just sold the ore. Now that we've done that, we're going to repeat that step. So we're going to get a piece of gold. Put it up on there. And just to be sure we've got the bucket in the right spot, I'll drop one piece in, make sure it catches it. And then do the same thing down there, because again we're want to avoid making a mess. So we'll grab something that's not a piece of gold, drop it in, and yep, okay. Didn't sound like it went in, but it did. So yeah, so these should all go into their appropriate spot. And there we have the gold. Yeah. Same as last time. Put all the gold in there. Get that. Make a gold bar. And that's now ready to sell. So we've got a gold bar. And now we could sort of separate some more, but it's kind of not worth it. As that there is like these unpolished gems. So that's an uncut emerald. Yeah, same as that one. So there's a couple of those in there. Not going to get much for them. Not really worth the effort. So happy to just leave those. We'll switch that back on. Make sure we fall in the hole just for fun. Make sure everything's lined up, which it is. And now we'll go to the shop. Okay. So gold bar 871. Iron bar brings us up to 1435. Okay. It's not a lot, but it's also wasn't a lot of work to do it with. Once we set it up, it's basically automated now. So okay, so the couple of things that we're going to need. So we were going to get this last time, which we still need, so let's get that on there. Now I would like to put a set of filters on there, 174 each. You do need 5 filters, but I think I'm going to leave those for now, in place of getting a few other things. So one of the things I want is a rake, which I'll show you why once we get back over there. I'd like to get that, but that's sort of still a ways off. It just makes melting it easier, but we'll leave that for now. We're going to need a repair kit. What that'll do when the machines stop, it lets us fix them. So that's essential. What do we got? 1457. We're at 1318. How much is that? Yep, that should 1403. Yep. Okay, let's go with that. Get this back and get it all set up. Okay, so this pressure tank, we're going to want that as close to the machinery as possible. So obviously it can only go where there's a straight section. This one here is down in the ground, but what we can do, obviously when we pull this out everything's going to stop for a minute, but that's all good. And we're just going to rearrange this a little. We'll bring that over to there, that one over to there. Then we can put the pressure tank in there. There we go. Now with this pressure tank, if we open that, that again stops it, but that's fine. When we drop that in there, and that then boosts the pressure. So what it does, so each one of these, if I pick up one, you'll notice it sort of decreases water pressure by 2.5%. So you're starting with 100% here, and then you got sort of 5%, 10%, 20, 30, 40, so you've already lost 45%. Now, you will also notice there was sparking. Now that's because that machine has worn out. So that's what the spanner kits are for. So yeah, then while we were away, it managed to get a whole bunch of stuff for us. And the other thing with moving that up here, what we're going to want is 5 filters, which means we need 5 straight lines, which means we can put all 5 filters along here now. So that worked out well. So that's that. Now, this is the pressure valve. So we can put that sort of wherever we want. I'm going to put it just here. So that would have just stopped everything. This default is off. Now it's back on again. Now the rake, what the rake does, which is why I got that, is it lets us go through and flatten out areas. So all these areas here that have been sort of a little bit messy, we can now get, I'm just trying to get that one because I want that as a back wall there, so stop all those ones disappearing. So when it does miss now, we can still find it all. So yeah, so that's why I wanted the rake. And then basically you can actually go through and where you've dug down. Actually, so kind of did the wrong spot on that one. It should have been down at that level. And then yeah, make little stairs instead of buying the stairs. So yeah, but yep, we'll do more with that later. Every now and then it's just spitting it off to that side for some reason. So what I'll do, just let that run for a bit, and so we get some more resources. While it's doing that, I'll keep digging away here and get that all tidied up. Yeah, which basically just continuing what I was just doing. So get rid of the bits that don't need to be there, and then use the rake to sort of flatten it all out. And then yeah, once I've gone through, done all that, I'll bring you back and we'll see how much we've managed to gather. Okay, so it's been going there for a bit. It's broken itself again. This time the grinder is broken as well. But we managed to sort of carve out a bit of room down here. This is where we're gonna sort of lay everything out. I did happen to come across what is ore deposit, but this is where you can get a lot more of a certain resource. Unfortunately, this one's just the shards, and honestly I don't need any significant amount of those, so I'm not gonna worry about trying to position things to harvest that. That's honestly makes no difference whatsoever in my opinion. But yeah, that's a ore deposit. You find different ones for different resources. Obviously some are more common than others. But yeah, so we're sort of getting closer to doing something about that. Let's go through and do this. Let's just turn this off for now. Actually, may as well let it run while I go through and pick all these up. So, okay. Alright. Definitely went for a bit longer than last time, so. Okay. What? Wait, 2 bars ready to go. We'll go see how much we can get for these. Definitely gonna want to get the filters while we're over there, and then we'll see where we're at with the rest of it. Hang on. One sec. I'll get over to the shop and see how much we get. So let's have a look and see. So we've got 1147 in iron, and brings us up to 2633. It's a little bit better. I'll add that to the little leftover coin that we had, gives us 2687. Alright, so there's a few things that we're definitely going to need. And then there's other things that are maybe depending on price. So, definitely going to need the anvil. And you can't have an anvil without a blacksmithing hammer. Yeah, so what's that? That's going to let us turn them ingots into other things like weapons and jewelry. Now, there is a grinding wheel. I'm reluctant to get that, and that I'd rather just wait till it's automated. So I think I'll hold off on that. Definitely going to get the scales. So we know how much things are what weigh, and then with the scales we're also going to know how much things are worth before we head over to the shop. And definitely going to need 5 filters, and that's 5. Okay, still got plenty to go. Definitely going to need a couple of repair kits, because we're almost out already. The good thing is, once we put those filters on, it'll actually only be the filters that need repairing, not the equipment. Yeah. Magnifying glass lets us see how far things are off being repaired. Definitely going to want this, which I'll show you why when we get back there. That's a construction hammer. 1685. While we're at it, no, it's a little bit expensive. Magnet on the stick is handy in that it lets you pick up the stray resources when we miss, or when the machines miss, but it's a lot of money just to save a little bit of time. We do have about 1,000 left though, so I guess it's not out of the ballpark. Let me just sort of scrounging for pans, so I'm going to grab a couple more of those so I don't have to worry about those. And we've got about 900 left. Unfortunately not enough for that, but yeah, that's unnecessary for now. I'm going to get the saw. Might not need it immediately, but we are going to need it. Yeah, I'm going to get one more of those. I'm just going to do something with it, but I'm not sure exactly what pipes I'm going to need, so I won't get those yet. Yeah, I've got 666 left. So, depending on what pipes we need, 2 to 3 are possible. Alright, let's head back over there and do that again. Okay, so I've had a look. The only thing I'm going to need is a T-piece, which unfortunately is the only piece I don't have. I happen to have a spare elbow and a straight piece, which I do actually need the elbow as well, but I'm just going to need a T-piece to do what I wanted to do, which we'll get to that, but for now let's get the filters on. So, these filters here. So you can put them at the top. I'm actually going to put them over here, which will make sense later, a lot later, but we'll worry about that then. When I played before, I did actually initially have them on the top, and then I ended up changing them once I had the money to get some other things, which I'm sure we'll get to. So, but we'll leave that for now. You'll see why. Now that there is going to stop those other things from wearing out. So we're not going to have to repair those machines again. Even though they are actually worn, we technically don't even have to repair them from whatever they are worn at the moment. Can just leave them exactly as they are. I may repair them anyway, just to sort of have them fully repaired. Just level this out a bit. That'll do. Don't need to do the whole area. Missed a bit. Alright. Just there, yep. Go a little bit wider down here. Right. So if we put that down, so yep, I want that facing that way because I want to be able to access that. We'll get some tool benches later, but for now you can just sit that on there. So it holds it in place. Now this is a construction hammer. What I wanted that for is, I'll just show you that. Well, actually, you saw it earlier. Well, I'll show you on this. So if you're walking, trying to pick something up, and you accidentally press the button on that, you pick that up instead, which we want to avoid that. What I'm going to do with that is just put that right there, just to make it easier for when we're adding that in. But then what we can do with the construction hammer, tells you down the bottom there how it works. But you go through and hit the stuff, and then you can't pick it up. So which is really handy, especially for things like the valves and stuff. That way, when you're trying to turn it off, you don't accidentally pick it up instead, which is a bit of a nuisance when you accidentally do that. And you can't lock the bowl, like big things that you actually are intended to pick up, you obviously can't lock. I'm going to duck back over and grab that elbow piece. So I got the T-piece, so what we're going to do, going to get rid of the straight bit there, put the T-piece in here. You're going to need that elbow as well. In there. And this one's going to go on there, like so. Gonna need Your bucket there. Your bucket. There. That bucket there. Hopefully this is going to work. So what do we got? We've got iron in that one, so we'll put gold in this one. Not sure if this is going to work or not, but we'll find out shortly. So let's turn the power back on. Yep. Turn that one off for now. Grab the bucket, or the pan. So I'd keep calling it the wrong thing technically. Now, if I do this, I'll just do a little bit first. Oop. Lucky I did just a little bit first. I've got this one in the wrong spot, but it looks like everything else is good. This just needs to come out a little, but hang on. Let me clean up the mess first. Alright, try this again. Lovely. There we go. Now we're sorting both piles in one. So it makes life a little bit simpler for us. And all we have to do is put the bucket back, turn it back on, and we're away. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end it for today. Put this spare pipe up here so we know where it is. But yeah, so we're starting to get a little bit set up. Next episode we'll work on getting down into our lower mining area, which means what we'll probably do is look at doing is actually getting a new drill instead of moving this one to start with. Eventually this one up here will be pointless and we'll get rid of it and relocate it, but for now we'll let that one keep harvesting. But yeah, but as I said, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. And then yeah, I will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me, and yeah, see you soon.